Hey guys, it's Flip. This is my Cub Cadet XT1 LT46, and today I'm going to show you how to take the deck off and then put it back on. So the first thing I like to do is put a piece of cardboard down just to help slide the deck out. You don't have to do that, that's just my preference. The next thing is to make sure that your parking brake is engaged, make sure that your PTO is off, and then make sure you take this deck lift lever and go ahead and lower that deck all the way down to the ground. The next thing we're going to do is take this belt off the engine pulley, and to do that you have to get this keeper rod out of the way. So this keeper rod keeps this belt on the pulley and it comes up here through the frame. Now there's a number of holes here in the frame, so I put a little piece of painter's tape right here so I remember what hole this keeper rod goes through. There's a couple ways you could do this. You can just squeeze this together really hard and just kind of move that to the side and keep it in the frame enough to get your belt off. Or you could take the screw out on the other side and just take the keeper rod off. That's what I like to do, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So here's that screw on the other side holding on the keeper rod. If you want to use a piece of painter's tape again to mark which hole it is, you can, but this one's a little easier to tell since you've got this hole up above it where the top of the keeper rod goes into. Now this is a 5/16 socket. You could just use a regular socket wrench like this. I like to use my impact and just take it off like that. Then the whole keeper rod will come out from around that belt. So now we can go ahead and take this belt off. So now our deck is attached to the mower at 3 points. We've got a bow tie pin on the front and there's 2 on the back, so you can start on either side. We're going to start with the back ones and we'll go ahead and take off these bow tie pins. So you take that pin out, then you can slide the lift arm off of here and just kind of set it up on that bracket. It does help if you put your foot underneath the deck just to take some weight off of that. It'll make it easier to get that lift arm off. So now we go to the other side and do the same thing. Again, if you lift up on the deck, that makes it a little easier to slide this arm off. And you can just kind of set it up on that bracket. Now we're going to take the pin out of the front lift rod, and you can see that it is clearly marked 46 and 42 for how big your deck is. Again, mine's a 46 inch, so I just need to make sure I put the lift rod back in this hole. So again, just take the pin out, and then if you lift up on the deck a little bit, that'll take the tension off. Get that out of the way. Now your deck's on the ground. And I would kind of pull this lift rod out of the way so you don't catch it when you're sliding your deck out. So now that you have the pins out and the lift arms detached from the deck, what you can do is take the lift lever and you can raise that all the way up. And that's going to lift those lift arms out of your way to make it easier to slide the deck out. Now the last place this deck is attached is the PTO cable, and it's attached by a spring to this bracket back here, and then there's a pin holding it in place in another position. So what we're going to do is slide this deck out a little bit, and that'll give us a little more room to get to it. So I'm just going to slide this out a little bit to give me a little room to access this pin back here. Not too much, just a little bit. So I've got the camera on the other side now, so hopefully you can see it better, but here's the pin on the PTO cable we need to take out. Now we're just going to pull on the cable, slide that out. So now we need to get this spring off of this bracket here, but there's not really room because it's under this belt and this rod and the deck's in the way. So what you need to do is actually push on this pulley right here, and that'll move it back to where you have some space to get that hook off. So I'm just going to push this back. That'll give me a little more room to work, and then I can just slide that hook off like that. Now I'm going to take that spring and just kind of hook it up here out of the way so we can slide our deck out. I went ahead and scraped off all the old grass from under the side of the deck while I had it off, so now let's go ahead and put it back on. So we're just going to reverse the order of things. First we'll take this hook down from where we hung it up, and we're going to get this back into the idler bracket. So the spring needs to go under the belt in this rod, so I'm just going to push forward on that pulley to give us some space. And then I'll hook it onto that bracket and release that pulley. Now I'm going to reattach the PTO cable and pin that holds it in place. So I'll show it to you from this side again so you can see a little better. Next, I'm going to reattach the deck lift rod in the front. Again, make sure you put this in the right hole. Mine's a 46, so it goes in there. Then put your bow tie pin back in. Then put your lift lever all the way back down so your lift arms are back down where you need them. Now start on either side in the back and reattach the lift arms to the deck. Again, it helps if you kind of lift up the deck here to take some of the weight. Then put your pin back in. Then do the same thing on the other side. Then you're going to route your belt back around the engine pulley. Then we're going to put the keeper rod back on. Remember, we marked the other side with a piece of painter's tape to remind us what hole it goes in. Put your screw back in. Always start these by hand so you don't cross thread. Then we'll tighten it up. And there's our painter's tape, so we know it got back in the right hole in the frame. And that's it, your deck's back on. You can go ahead and set your deck height back where you want it. And you're back in business. So that's it. Hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have a lot more videos coming about this mower. Thanks for watching.